Beyond the Ballet Bar is made possible through the generous support of the late Dorothy Mackenzie Price, a lifelong and passionate supporter of dance, education, and the arts. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
It's music under the stars. Now, stage-wise isn't perfect. It's 15 feet deep, it's 50 feet wide. The dancers love being here, they love working with the live musicians. They thoroughly enjoy their dancing all the time.
The kids will be like
They'll be
this.
excited,
As soon as they hear the music, they'll be ready to go.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's featured dancers from the Ballet Theatre of Toledo. We welcome Mackenzie Abadili, Fiona Connolly, Hannah Gherkin, Emma Hennessy, Claire Harder, Hannah Pruitt, Jacqueline Weiner, and Evan Long. The Ballet Theatre of Toledo! It's Mackenzie, Fiona, Hannah, Emma,
With classical ballet, there is so much in the way of choreography. I think somebody counted once, there's something like 3,500 ballet steps. If you put them all together, well, that is such a wide range of classical ballet, and people are developing and working on that all the time. And it blends in with an artistic story or a fable that you're now putting into dance with music. So to me, classical ballet has got so much more scope. I started dancing when I was 4 years old. The school that I went to was a private school, and they used to do musical movements. After the first class, the teacher said to my mother, Nigel should really take up ballet. And I left home when I was 11 to become a boarder, and I lived at the Royal Ballet School for 5 years in the lower school, and then trained for another 1.5 years at the upper school. Really, my dream would be to give the dancers here what I had as a 17-year-old. As soon as I joined the London Festival Ballet, we were off on tour 2 days in Germany, 10 days in Israel, 10 days in Yugoslavia, 10 days in Italy, 10 days in the south of France, in Nice. I mean, we just jumped on planes, went places, did performances, jumped on another plane. It was like being James Bond, you know. It wasn't just a job, it was traveling the world and being an entertainer and being an ambassador, not just for Great Britain, but for the arts. And I say to my students now, do you know where you're going and what you're doing? You love dancing, you know, are you going to pursue this? And I can see in their eyes now, yes, I think I am. Yes, I think I'm going to do this. I am going to be a professional dancer.
Alrighty, so it's Nutcracker auditions. Are we ready? Alrighty, let's go. Well, these are little ones, the primary and the elementary ones, so we'll probably need to work on our buglers and.
Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Please sit back, relax, and enjoy the Nutcracker. Thank you.
Well, we're really excited to be a part of the Nutcracker this year. We've pulled together a group of families who are foster and adoptive families, and they are coming to today's performance. One of our board members was having a conversation with Nigel, and what they all discovered together was that two of the lead dancers were adopted.
Nigel and Evan both were adopted, and I think he found his focus, he found a passion, he found someplace that you really feel like you belong, you have another family.
He's one of the standout students. We gave a voucher for free ballet classes, and his mother paid for it at a fundraiser and brought him in, and he said, I don't want to do this.
I just didn't really like it because I thought it was like boring, because I just started and I thought, oh, is this it? But then I kept going and I got better, and it got harder as I went on.
Complete natural, stands at the bar, learns everything, knows exactly where he's going, knows every role in the production.
He's a very hard worker, he follows direction well, he loves the music, he loves to take on a characterization.
I think actually when I was in Snow White a couple years ago, he was in it. He was one of the dwarfs, and seeing him now, he's amazing. His turns and everything are phenomenal. I'm kind of jealous.
He sees those things, it's natural within him. He's complete ambidextrous. He can do it really well to the right and the left. So jealous.
I'm gonna try to do it for as long as I can and try to get a professional career, and then hopefully open my own studio. Having Nigel as a teacher is good because I can kind of relate to it, and it's nice to see that, somebody has a career, somebody that had a really good career is teaching other people, and hopefully I can have a career as good as his.
We've had 3 dancers that have gone off to be professionals already. One's gone to Rochester City Ballet, New York. One's gone to Louisville, Kentucky, and another one has joined the Canadian National Ballet.
I started taking classes with Nigel and Anne-Marie when I was 4. Until I was 14. Moved to Toronto when I was 14 to attend the National Ballet School. And then 4 years later, after I graduated from the school, I joined the company, and I'm going into my 4th year there.
I mean, when Spencer first started with us, he was, I think, about 5 or 6 at the time, and he was learning party scene. And he just kept going, I just hope I'll be able to remember all the choreography. And he was writing notes down. But anytime there was a break, he was practicing dance steps, looking at himself in the mirror, perfecting every little movement. And I thought, there's somebody that's way ahead of their time. Because a lot of little kids, if they have a break, they're off running around and playing, but not Spencer. He was looking in that mirror, looking to making sure that his foot was stretched and that his head was lifted, and he was definitely here for performing.
Spencer had some of the most amazing focus for a young, especially male dancer that I've ever seen. You could tell he wanted to be here all the time. He was here constantly, and that was true for a lot of us, but you just saw him, he was always focusing on bettering his ballet dancing, and I think seeing that focus and his drive really showed that he was willing to do whatever it took to become a professional dancer.
It's nice to see people from where you're from being able to do it, so you know that, oh, I can do it too.
Then some have gone off to be doctors, and another one's gone off to be a lawyer and things like that, but they still come back and take ballet class. And they just love it because it's always been part of their life.
Everybody as I was going into college was like, oh, you're going to be a dance major, right? And I still had the scholastic side to me. I knew I wanted to do something in healthcare. I knew I wanted to help people, and I like being able to do that from the dance perspective, but I'm not an elite dancer. I knew that going into a dance major wasn't going to be right for me. I wasn't going to be going to Broadway and trying my luck on Broadway or, you know, doing anything along those lines. And so for me, I kind of fell in love with teaching through dance.
She's a doctor of pharmacy, but you'll find her in here at that ballet bar 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week taking class herself, and she wants to make a difference. She just said, I'd love to catch the kids now. I want to instill that discipline, that sense of self-worth to them at a young age so that carries them on.
I teach the 3- and 4-year-olds. So the very first step I get to see is like how to listen to people, because that's a new concept for most of them. They walk in here and they've never been in a classroom setting or ever had to even listen to somebody before. They just have seen the ballerina on TV and want to become that, and they think they're going to walk in the door and they're suddenly going to be a ballerina. And so watching them just through the first year that they take ballet, you can see them start to realize what it takes to become a dancer.
We actually just had a student come back. She just graduated from law school and she just moved back to the Bowling Green area.
When I was young, I definitely wanted to be a professional ballerina. I'm pretty sure probably from about the age of 5 until at least 13. If you asked me what I was going to do, I probably would have told you I wanted to be a professional ballet dancer. It doesn't work out for a lot of people. It takes a certain kind of person, both physically and mentally, to be able to be a professional ballet dancer. So I probably changed my mind at about 15 or so that I was going to go to law school.
She passed the bar in Virginia, she just passed the bar in Ohio, she's going to be working as an attorney, but what's the first thing on her mind? Can I come back and dance? I missed it so much.
Even though I didn't want to do it professionally, I knew it was something that was good for me and that I wanted to keep as a big part of my life.
A lot of people don't understand how much work goes into being a ballet dancer. I think it looks very glamorous and it looks very pretty from the outside, but there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go into this profession.
The goal of ballet is to make it look easy. And so if they do that, they're achieving their goal, but it's never easy.
Performing a full ballet is just as exhausting and strenuous as playing in a football game.
Musicians, singers, and actors can go on forever. Dancers, if they're lucky, will get 10 years, if you're lucky.
You're dancing all day, every day. Not every day, but most days you're dancing from 11:30 in the morning until 6:30 at night, plus a class. And you know, so physically it's a lot of work, and you know, you really are pushing your body to the limit.
That's just the technical side. Then you have to deal with the artistic side. So it's not just working on that technique's got to be perfect, and then you have to walk into the studio and then absorb the character, and then take that character and then just make it slightly bigger to bring it out on stage so that the people right in the back of the audience believe who you are.
For Evan in particular, with the Snow Queen, he was given the role of Kai, and Kai really involved a lot of personality changes. And again, you can be a fabulous technician, but if you can't sell the character, people get bored. And people just sat on the edges of their seat like, wow, what's gonna happen next? Look at him, he's gone from a regular child into a child that now has, you know, demons inside of sorts.
Yeah, it was really hard at first because with all your friends, you want to like laugh when you're trying to be serious. So then it was a really hard challenge trying to like be evil, but it was really fun and I think I did it pretty well.
Where he's blessed is he has a wonderful personality on stage. It comes straight across. And there have been dancers I've worked with professionally and students as well, and I can see them do all the steps, but to get it across those footlights, to come out to the audience, you know, you've got to win the heart of everybody sitting watching you.
Sometimes that's a really hard skill to teach. Sometimes you really can't even teach learning how to act. It has to come from within, and you have to be able to express it out on stage. You have to be multifaceted, multidimensional. You can't just be, well, I'm either smiling or I'm not smiling. You have to feel it.
It's sometimes harder to do like a evil role and like a nice role, and then you gotta like figure out how to like put your technique and what you've learned into that role so it like looks like you're portraying the character.
Those are things that, you know, I'm surprised at times. We never know with kids. You kind of look at them, they don't look like they're enjoying themselves, they look very serious, but they work, and it comes to the show and you're like, wow, I didn't see that coming, and how fabulous. And after you've seen that once, then we're like, good, now we can push them, we can go again and try some other areas.
You can't force personality on people, especially when it comes to acting on the stage. They've got to be able to present the strength, they've got to be able to show fear, they've got to be able to show joy, all of those different areas, you know, and it's not just one number in a competition or a recital. This is a whole ballet, you have to carry it through. When Evan does Fritz in the party scene, he is on the whole time. He's dancing, he's acting, he has to steal the Nutcracker doll, he has to do a solo, all of those areas, and he has to keep that quality and that presentation going. There can't be a moment when he's over doing something else when he should be up there.
Do you want, there will be some dancers backstage at this point, right? They're already there? She's there, okay.
Evan, Hannah, Emma, you can go backstage as well.
So for me, this is 5 minutes before, and then 3 minutes before, we're going to move into the pit.
Here you learn a lot of like discipline and following rules, so you can apply that at school and at home.
Discipline is huge. You know, discipline is a big part of ballet.
Class will start at 5 o'clock. You better be here by 4:45. changed, sitting in the stretch area and getting ready to go.
You have to have your hair a certain way, you have to dress a certain way, you're expected to be on time, you're expected to behave a certain way during class all of the time, no matter what. You're expected to work hard the entire time you're there, and that is a career.
Ballet dancers always arrive early, they're always prepared, they're always looking immaculate, and they walk into a room held with their chins up, their shoulders back, with an air of confidence.
Throughout the workday, I've had students and colleagues comment on how I am always standing or sitting up very tall and how I have very nice posture. And I think that comes from being a dancer and being trained in ballet.
Parents drop you off, you're spending hours with your friends kind of taking care of yourself before rehearsals. Most often at a young age you're getting yourself ready downstairs for your performances so parents can be out front. And so you're very responsible for yourself, both getting ready for ballet and during the actual show. I remember, sitting here for an entire show run through of Nutcracker and having to have my homework sitting behind the bar doing math while other dances are going on.
The music, memorization, there's quite a bit of brain work going on in the ballet. You have to be good in math, you have to be good in geometry, and because we're making shapes and patterns and we're doing certain counts, and all of that's going on in addition to trying to stay on the music and remember all the steps. And you've got your legs, your arms, your head, everything's doing something different. I've had many parents come up to us and say it's because of the ballet that they've got such good grades at school, because they have to be focused.
School in general just requires a lot of focus and dedication. Sometimes you don't feel like going to that class or focusing as much as you should, or maybe working on that paper as much as you should. But you know that if you want to get to a good point in the end, that you need to put in your best effort all the time. And that's always the case in ballet. And I think having that ability to really persevere no matter what is incredibly helpful in school.
I'm always so proud of our students. We get complimented all the time about how your students always present themselves like professionals. And they just can't believe that they're only 13, 14 years old. We really insist on our students at the upper end have to be mentors for our younger students. I'm like, come on, go down and say something nice to the mice, and the mice are like, oh wow, one of the flowers came down and said good job, and it means everything to them.
Most of the girls here are best friends, girls and boys are best friends with one another outside of the studio as well, and that happened from relationships in the studio. Most of them don't go to the same schools or even see each other during the day, but you form a relationship through dance.
Well, dance, it's like a big family, everybody sticks together.
The ballet is a family. We all know each other, we all take care of each other, and we always talk about that the productions don't center around just one person. It isn't just around Clara for the Nutcracker. I mean, who's gonna fight the mice? If the snowflakes don't come, how is she gonna get off to the land of dreams and candy? And if this doesn't, so every role is important, and it can't be just about one. And that the whole school does well if everybody does well.
I think people think of ballet as pink and tutus and fairy wands and fairy tales, but there's so much beyond that. Everyone has something to connect to in ballet.
I didn't grow up in the ballet world, and so I kind of had that, oh, ballet's for the hoity-toity people. I'm not as into that as they are, and after being here and being a part of this, I could never say that.
There's days that I look at the kids and they're sweating and working so hard, and people probably look and they're going, why did they do it? It's like, if you haven't done it, you wouldn't understand.
I just love coming in here and watching the smallest mouse move all the way up to being the queen of the flowers or being a Merlaton or something. I just love watching that.
I know a lot of people who don't really see what it is that I love so much about ballet, but I think a lot of them understand better when, kind of what we were talking about earlier, they realize ballet doesn't just teach you how to be a ballerina. It's a great learning place for almost anything you want to learn as a person.
It's not everybody's cup of tea. I understand that. But I would love them to be on the stage, thoroughly enjoying themselves, and then if they go off and do another job, they get married, they have children, bring them back. Bring them into that theatre. Let them see live production. Make sure that they are enjoying the arts and they were involved in the arts and they will keep the arts going in their community.
Beyond the Ballet Barre is made possible through the generous support of the late Dorothy Mackenzie Price, a lifelong and passionate supporter of dance, education, and the arts. And by viewers like you. Thank you.